because I tend to deplete very quickly. I have stolen something that I saw on Instagram the other day. If I've got more than like one thing planned in a week, I'm like, oh my God, that feels quite overwhelming. Hello, yes, I know. Gonna give myself a little pat on the back. Sometimes you need to think about like what you can give in a certain situation and what you can almost like inject back into the world. God, this is a random video, isn't it? Hello, how are you doing today? I really hope you are doing well. I set up the camera and I was like, I need to just come in here and start doing some things because my head feels so blurry today, and I've got so many things, so many planty things that in themselves are not big jobs. They are just things that for ages I've been like, oh, I'll do that next week, or I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that at some point soon. And all of a sudden, my plant care has gone from, and this is so typical, I know I've said this a million times before, has gone from feeling manageable and fine to, oh my goodness, I've got so much to do and I don't know where to start. So I've just gone through and I've pulled a few things off the shelves that I've been looking at and I haven't got around to, and I just thought that this morning, in a very calm way, we could just sit down together, have a chat, have a catch up, and I could just start getting on top of some of the things that are feeling bigger than they should be. So yes, that is the plan for this morning. But hello, if you're new here. Hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, as I always say with this kind of video, if you've got planty things that you need to be getting on top of as well, then please do grab them. Use this as your excuse to get on top of some things that you've been putting off, and we can do it together. And yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. Okay, there is no order to what I'm going to do this morning. I am just going to work through it. Oh, damn it, my potting mat's all grubby. Can I be bothered to clean it? No, I can't. But before I start on the things that I'm going to work through, I just wanted to show you something quite exciting. Hello, Yoli. Oh, you're coming to join the chaos. Come on then. Hello. Hello, sweetie. Oh, no, mind my exciting thing. So if you have watched my other videos recently, you'll know I have recently got 2 Anthurium warocqueanums. It was very, very scary because it's a plant that I have never particularly got on well with. In fact, that is an understatement. I've got on awfully with this plant over the years. But the little one that I got when I went to Wisley, hello, yes, I know, oh, hello. The little one I got when I went to Wisley had 2 leaves unfurling when I first got it, which was, I think, maybe about a month ago now. Maybe actually not even that long. 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. And those leaves have hardened off now and have not browned or died or done anything bad. And already, look, I've got a new leaf there and a new leaf coming just there as well, which is such a good sign. I know this is really early days with this plant, but like for me, that already feels like a breakthrough, and it's really encouraging because I just thought I was going to do very badly with it indeed. And in fact, the bigger one that was sent to me by one of you guys, again, thank you so much. I am just blown away by this plant. But so far so good. And again, it has actually got a little growth point coming through just there, and I'm so glad that it doesn't appear, oh, it's not focusing, doesn't appear to be damaged, because I actually snapped a bit off that recently and I was like, oh my God, no. It does have fungus gnats, as do quite a few plants in my collection. This one didn't come with fungus gnats, definitely got them in the time it's lived with me. I just have been really bad at doing fungus gnat treatments and nematode things and all that sort of stuff recently, so I very much need to get back on top of that. So I think probably the biggest thing that I plan on doing today, that in fact maybe I should start with while I still have energy, because I tend to deplete very quickly. I think the thing I'm going to start with today is my Musa plant, my variegated Musa, which I made a care video on the other day. It is doing so well and I love it so much. I only repotted this about a month ago, just over a month ago, and already just look at the roots coming out the bottom, and they are starting to go a little bit sludgy in places just because they are growing into water and they're getting crushed. And so I think I am going to do a pretty massive pot upsize for this one. I've just had a massive bag of semi-hydro arrive, so I'm going to stick with semi-hydro because the plant does seem very happy like this. But yeah, I'm going to do it before it gets too rooty again, because the last time I did it, I had to chop an obscene amount of root back because I physically couldn't get it out the pot. And I may need to give it a bit of a root prune today, but I think it should be a little bit more straightforward than it was before. So I'm going to set up my potting mat, make space to do this, and then a crack on. Okay. So I've literally just got this bag of semi-hydro. I haven't rinsed it through or anything. And the pot, I'm now actually wondering, looking at it, I might have gone too big. The pot that I have brought over to use for this plant is really, really huge. Hello again. Hello again. And obviously that is quite a jump up in size. However, considering it's sized up this much in such a short space of time, I feel like it probably is the right decision to go really, really big with it. The only thing I'm kind of wondering, and if any of you guys have got this plant, maybe you can shed some light on it, but I'm kind of just thinking to myself, if the roots are spreading this much at this stage, what do I do next? Like, the plant is obviously big, but it is capable of getting much, much bigger. Like, it can grow to be like bigger than my bird of paradise in its natural habitat. And I would like to think the way it's sizing up, it could potentially reach that stage at some point, but I feel like I'm just going to be growing it in a pot that's as big as this room like by the time I get to that point. So yeah, I'm gonna go big. The only annoying thing is I don't have anything to form like a reservoir around this pot currently, so I am going to have to just like, I don't know, put this in the washing up bowl for a reservoir for the first few days and then get a bigger pot. And also, annoyingly, the way that I usually rinse out my semi-hydro when I get it in these massive, massive bags is I've got like, I think you use it for actually sifting gold. I've got this massive, massive kind of industrial sieve type thing. But over the weekend, the bottom split on it and I can't use it now. So I'm gonna have to do this with my little bowl and sieve, which may take a little while. Oh, but how are you guys doing? Are you good? I'm sorry about my clicky knees. I feel like I haven't actually done one of these just sit down kind of chatty plant chory videos in a while, before I went away over summer actually, so it's quite nice to be back doing one. I always very much kind of base the content I make, I love that sound so much, I base the content that I make off what you guys seem to be enjoying, and for some reason my kind of plant chorsy videos haven't been performing so well recently, so I haven't been making as many of them. But they are my favourite kind of videos to make, so yeah, it feels nice. But this coming week is an absolutely manic one for me. I am the sort of person that, like, oh God, nowadays, I was not like this when I was younger, but nowadays, if I've got more than like one thing planned in a week, I'm like, oh my God, that feels quite overwhelming, and I just need more time to be at home and to just kind of settle. And it's my birthday this coming week, and I never usually do anything at all for my birthday, but bless Ross has planned something that I think is going to span over a couple of days, so I'm going to be away for a couple of days. I'm also doing a midnight live chat over on my Patreon, which will be fun. In fact, I'm doing 2 live chats over my Patreon this week. But then yeah, I've gone and booked loads of things into my diary that I do from time to time when I'm feeling really like, I don't know, really energetic and really up for things in the future. Like, you know, when sometimes someone will be like, oh, do you want to do something this week? And you'll be like, oh no, that's too much. But if we plan it for a month, then I've got time to kind of prepare for that. I've done lots of that. Claire last month was very active in thinking that she'd be able to handle this, and now it's here. It just feels a little bit overwhelming. And yeah, on top of that, I have got so many planty things that I want to be getting on top of. And to be honest, I want to just have a day where I don't have to do anything else, that I can just sit down and do planty things with no guilt or no, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I just feel like I haven't really had a day like that in a while. So yeah, I must make time for that more. But yeah, I've just gone a little bit into procrastination mode recently. Even the things that I'm planning on making it through today, these are like tip of the iceberg. I've got so many more things. One thing, in fact, that I will put some clips in of, but my Repotting foraminifera, I separated the bottom section from the top section of that a while ago, just to kind of make the top section a little bit, like basically conserve the bigger growth of the top of the plant. And now the top of the plant has grown a lot, and as you can see, it's got an aerial root kind of growing out of the moss pole, and the bottom section has started putting out really big growth as well. And I want to separate that top section from the bit that I was, God, this is making no sense, is it? Basically, I want to combine some of that plant, and then I want to chop the other bit up into cuttings that I was originally going to do, and I want to get those out to those of you that I promised them to. But I just don't really know how to go about it. I think because it's putting out these ridiculous aerial roots, I'm like, a moss pole doesn't seem sufficient, and should I try growing, I don't know, on one of those like coir poles, or should I don't know. I basically just feel like I should mix things up. I've even contemplated just saying, should I just let that plant climb the walls of this room and accept the fact that if we were to move out or use this room for something else in the future, I'd need to redecorate. I don't know. But anyway, that seems like a decision that I'm just incapable of making for whatever reason at the moment. So if you have got an idea of how you would go about it, please let me know in the comments. That's not something I feel ready to take on today, and I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do about it. So yes. Okay, I've filled the semi-hydrator about there on this pot, and I'm hoping that I should be able to kind of fairly easily lift this out. I'm just going to try and pull away some of the spindly roots. In fact, they're not rotten, but they have just gone a little bit brown and discoloured. And I hope that I might be able to just ease it out and put it straight in. I cannot believe how quickly these roots have grown. Okay, I've lost quite a few spindly roots around the bottom, and that is because I just pulled. I shouldn't have just pulled, but I did. What I'm going to try and do is I put the roots into the new pot. I'm going to just try and spread them to the side a little bit more, so that they're not all going down. I really, really hope that means that the plant can stay in this pot for a while longer, because I did not think I was going to be sizing up again this quickly. My God. Yeah, fingers crossed this will do the trick. Oh my God, I have lost quite a lot of really nice beefy roots in doing this as well, but I have faith the plant will bounce back absolutely fine. As I say, I gave it a pretty huge root pruning the last time and it's done amazingly well. So yeah, let's just rinse off a little bit more semi-hydro. One thing that I really struggle with, I know I was just saying I've got a really busy week. Often when I've got so much coming up, I know I'm using overwhelmed so much already and we're literally 2 minutes into this video. But I often find myself like hitting walls where I just almost like freeze with what I'm doing and I'm like, I don't know. I just had a moment there where I was like, oh my God, I was like, I'm filming this video and is this the video I want to be filming today? And is this video going to be something people want to watch? And I don't know, I get so in my head about things compared to when I have like a week where I can just focus on what's in front of me. That doesn't mean to say that it won't happen in a clear week as well, because it does from time to time, but get freaked out sometimes when there is so much. Also, in my last video, my music hair video, I had comments from you guys being like, oh my God, I love your hair. And I was like, thank you. This was a procrastination haircut. This was when I had so many things to get on with and I was just really struggling to find my like get up and go with those things. Ross was out that evening as well. And so I ended up upstairs with a pair of scissors and I hacked off my hair. And you know what? I really like it. So it was definitely a good procrastination decision. And I know that this is probably, well, in fact, I know it's an ADHD thing where like often you will find, and I know everyone can do this from time to time, but you will find everything else to do so that you don't have to do the one thing that is like freaking you out. And I think at that point it was just like editing a video or something, and it wasn't a scary edit, it wasn't a tough edit, it was just something that's taking a while, and I was like, oh well, I need to go upstairs and do something else, and and I ended up cutting my hair. And this is not the first time I've done it before either. When I was living back at my mum's, I think that's the last time I did like a drastic haircut. I just decided one day to chop myself a fringe, and I used to do it back in the day. I used to do it after nights out sometimes. My housemates that I lived with would always joke about it because we'd get back at like 4 in the morning and I'd be like, I'm going to cut my hair. Don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah, as I say, there's something about like cutting off all your dead ends sometimes. It does kind of mentally feel quite nice. And I never go to the hairdressers for haircuts. I'm really bad. I probably should. It's one of these things where I'm always just, this is not me saying I'm good at it, by the way, because I'm definitely not. I'm very lucky my hair's curly, so if it was straight, you'd be able to see that this is not even. But I'm always just like, it's such an expensive thing. I'm always a bit reluctant to go and have it done. I'm also just a control freak, so. I'm actually thinking I probably don't need to fill this completely all the way up either. I'm going to fill it a little bit more just so it's a bit more stable, but then I can continue to fill as the plant grows and grows and grows. I'm wondering if you can get tower pots, like pots like this, that are this size. I've never seen them. I think 15, 16 centimetres is the biggest I've ever seen them. But yeah, the pot I'm using here, this is just a normal nursery pot, and I would say this is probably about 25 centimetres, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I hope do this plant for at least want to say the next 6 months or so, but I really thought the last time I did this would be the last time for a while, so we'll see. Okay, cool. It is very drippy, and in fact I'm just going to sit it inside the washing up bowl that I used to water into here for the time being. And as I say, that just for the next few days until I'm able to go to the garden centre or order something online, that might need to be how I make its reservoir. But that's alright. There we go. Perfect. Job number 1 complete. Oh, let's pop this over here. And okay, semi-hydro repotting. I had quite a few things that I was going to do with this. The first one actually is this Alocasia odora, which is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, variegated odora. Firstly, I can see it's got a corm just there, which means that it might even have more in the pot. This is quite a small plant to be giving me corms, but I do worry that maybe it's giving me them because it needs a pot upgrade. It's in this teeny tiny little candle pot with a very dry reservoir and has been needing some attention again for a while. Oh my God, also that is like solidly stuck in there. I'm wondering actually, I'm just going to pour, I know this is water that I've just washed the semi-hydro off, but oh, I've just poured that everywhere. I'm just going to pour some water in there to see if that helps kind of loosen things up a bit. Ah, I think that might have actually worked. Yeah, there we go. Let's just empty that straight back into here. We can give it a rinse. Yeah, this Alocasia has got so much potential and can grow to be huge. Oh, we've got another corm as well, yay. But I've just noticed in the last few months that all of its growth that it's given me has, oh my God, loads of corms, has kind of hit a bit of a standstill and it's not sizing up anymore. And I think that is just because it's really reached capacity of how big it can grow in this container. And actually, you know what, the thing that kind of made me want to do so many, actually start paying my plants attention again. Paying them attention again, I am paying them attention, but like actually not putting off my repots is what I'm saying. Is the fact that I pot sized up my Alocasia Sarian, my variegated Sarian, only a couple of weeks ago, like really not that long ago. And oh my God, I must just show you guys the leaf it's given me. But considering this was such a teeny tiny plant, look at that leaf. You know, I said by the end of summer I wanted it to be the size of my hand. Well, I think we might have just done that because that was its biggest leaf previously, which is tiny compared to this. And it's actually turning into quite a lovely big plant. And I'm sure that is just because it's had more space to actually grow. And don't get me wrong, I know I always say this, but I don't quite know what I will do when all of these plants do grow really big. I know I joked in a video recently about like creating a little greenhouse extension onto the side of this room, and honestly I think it might come to that because there's so many plants that I'm just like, I don't want to get rid of them, but I also want to grow them big and beautiful. I guess rehoming for some of them might have to be on the cards at some point, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I really want a glass house. I really just want my own little Kew gardens. One day, eh? But yeah, this one, the Odora, it can get to like Portadora size, which is, as we know, very big. It's also quite quick to grow usually, and its growth has slowed down recently. Again, because it's not able to grow anymore in that small container. And the roots on the whole look pretty good. There's a few spindly ones here and there that have gone a little bit slushy. But hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 corms out of that plant, which again, as I say, for its size is really good. So I will probably throw those corms into a prop box. Oh, is that another one? Oh, yeah, I've got another one. Oh, another one that's actually starting to sprout and has rooted. Look at this. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, fun. In fact, the one that's rooting, I'm gonna just fill, and I know this isn't clean water, but I'm gonna just put it in there for the time being, just because its roots will probably dry out very quickly. And I don't want it to rot, so I'll put that to one side and put it into a prop box after I've dealt with this. I'm going to reuse this semi-hydro. I'm just picking out the odd little bit of root that's gone in there. I can't get every single little bit, it's not the end of the world, but I just want to try and get out as much of what has potential to rot, which is obviously anything organic. So roots, moss, soil if you're transitioning a plant. Weirdly, again, it's off topic, but I think one of the other things that might be making me feel a bit overwhelmed, and this will probably sound ridiculous, but is the fact that my birthday's coming up. I don't know why. I've never, ever, ever been the sort of person that, I don't hate my birthday by any means. I've got no reason to hate my birthday. I've just never been a massive birthday person. I always used to feel a bit angsty before my birthday. And actually, since I've been with Ross, like bless him, he's always got weird and wonderful little surprises lined up, and he makes it so special, and I love it. And I'm actually really looking forward to it this year, but I don't know if it's just the fact that it's like, oh, another year older, that's another year gone, which I don't think it is that at all. I know getting older is such a privilege and something that a lot of people don't get to experience, but it just, I don't know, it just is another reminder, I guess, that another year has passed. And that shouldn't be a sad thing. And I don't think I'm sad about it. It just makes me feel something, you know? I think that might be what's lingering. I've been sat here trying to put my finger on, is it overwhelmed with plants? What is it? And maybe it's a whole list of things, but that is, yeah, I think that is something that is just kind of somewhat there for me at the moment. I don't know, I think like it's a time where there's a lot of like big things. I was going to say a lot of it. There's a lot of big things happening everywhere, aren't there? There's, oh, God, I think it's just so easy to feel overwhelmed at the moment with just everything in life, in the world, the extreme highs and lows, the horrendous, awful things that we're seeing coming out of Gaza and the things that we're not seeing coming out of other places like Sudan, Congo. Like there's just, I really try not to get political on my channel and bring all of this into it, but it can be really hard. It can just be really hard sometimes to just carry on as normal when stuff like that is going on, you know. And I think most of the time, for me, like having, like being in the fortunate position that I'm in, and having such a lovely escape that I can just switch off and I can focus on all of this is so lovely. And then there's other times where, I don't know, I just feel guilty for being able to switch off. And like, hi darling.
Sorry.
Hello, sorry, Ross just came in and thought I was on the phone to someone. I didn't realise I was filming a video. Yeah, I don't know exactly where I got to with that. Basically, I just think that sometimes, like, I think what I'm feeling at the moment is probably a clash of the extreme highs and the extreme lows, and the like I just kind of said, like, the carrying on as normal thing. Like I have days where I find it much easier to do that, and I have other days where I find it almost impossible. And I think also, by the way, I'm doing this very badly. I'm washing the plant in the same stuff that I'm washing the semi-hydro in. But I'm going to just, I think, flush all of this through afterwards, and I think that will be fine. But yeah, I think at the moment, because obviously, like, I've got this like lovely busy week where I've got lots of things planned and lots of fun things for my birthday, and I'm going off and I'm doing all these fun things. It just, like, occasionally will just hit me in a way, which I think it probably just has today, to be honest, like, where everything just feels a bit much, and yeah, I just feel guilty about it. Yeah, I think, because actually one of the things that I have felt like over the last year or so on YouTube is whether or not I should be talking about stuff like this more. I think lots of people are saying about, like, celebrities, if you've got a voice, you should use your voice, you should be speaking out, you should be trying to spread the word of all of the awful things, people being starved to death, people being, like, all of these horrible, awful things that are going on. And part of me feels like maybe it is my responsibility that maybe it is my responsibility to be talking about things like that more as well. And I think, oh God, I think that I really think that sometimes you need to think about, like, what you can give in a certain situation and what you can almost, like, inject back into the world. And I feel like a lot of the time in my case, creating a little corner on the internet of safety and non-political, just like a space that is, like, everyone is welcome, you know? I feel like that is what I have got to give right now. I feel like that is what I have got to give back. It is not that I am ignoring, believe me, I am not ignoring everything that's going on. It can just be really hard to know what the right thing is to do, besides putting pressure on our governments, and besides educating ourselves and doing our own research that is away from what we're being shown on the news. Having the conversations, I think, is important, but also I think the thing that scares me the most, and this is just a general thing in life, I think one of the things that scares me the most is potentially spreading misinformation, because I believe, I know that there is so much that we are not shown. There is so much, there's so many things that, I don't know, I just, like, educate in the areas that you can, have the conversations, make sure people are equipped to go away and do their own looking into things. Yeah, as you can probably tell, like, my brain is just in a little bit of a scramble about it all, and I think for some reason today it has just hit me a bit. So yeah, this is also something like very much so, I was going to say, a conversation that I don't want to steer away from. I don't want to actively say I'm not talking about these things. I've never been opposed to talking about things that go on in the world. Like I just said before, I just also using like the privileged place that I'm in to be able to allow people to switch off as well, and myself. Like I just said, most of the time my plant care in general has been the switch off for me for whatever else is going on in my own personal life, in the world. It's the time that I use to come and get away from everything else and really just come into myself. And most of the time, that is what it is. And there are just some times, such as at the moment, where that's where I just find that hard. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at with it all at the moment. Yeah, I've said it so many times before, and like I feel the need to just reiterate it, that I feel so grateful as well for being able to have this lovely safe space online to be able to, God, just talk about anything, like really talk about anything. And I get the weirdest and most wonderful conversations popping up, even like in the comments section of my videos sometimes. And I think to myself, I'm just like, God, I'm so grateful that people feel they've got a space to be able to say this stuff, to be able to talk about plants, but also talk about just other things that remove all kind of boundaries from everything. It's just a really, God, it can be such a wonderful community. Yeah, like I feel very supported by it. I feel very grateful for it, and yeah, I hope it's something that I never lose. So if you're watching this video, if you've made it this far, like genuinely, I never know how to say this stuff without it just sounding like I'm saying it for the sake of it, but genuinely, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful, and thank you for watching, and thank you for just being here to listen. Okay, so going back to the plant, my Alocasia odora. I know I haven't really spoken through what I was doing, but I just got all the old semi-hydro off, and I'm just going to put some more in there. It's in a much bigger pot. The root system has so much more space to spread now, so hopefully this plant can start properly sizing up, and we will figure out what the heck I do when all of these plants start getting significantly bigger. I mean, I was going to say there are bigger problems in the world, there really are. But, yeah, I think I will be forced to get quite creative. So that is what that one is looking like for the time being. I will just put that inside a nursery pot of sorts. And then this one is, I believe, a Xanathosoma violaceum, and it's really quite small at the moment. And I went to, again, when I went to Wisley recently, which I did make a video on, oh my God, their glass house there is amazing. But when I went to Wisley, they had what I think was a massive one of these with leaves that were like that. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh my God, I was like, I want that plant. And then I was like, hang on. I was like, I think I have that plant. But again, because I am growing it, again, this is semi-hydro, it's just not coming out. I'm growing it in a teeny tiny container. No wonder it can't size up. So in fact, I'm just gonna fill this water up. It's getting very grubby and dusty, but it's serving its purpose. I don't think I actually need to change it yet. Or maybe I do, but I'm not gonna. So I'm just gonna fill this water up, and then I will loosen this one a tad, and we can pot size this one up as well. getting colder. On a very separate note, changing the dynamic, I had a really lovely, wholesome day yesterday. It's been a very chilled weekend. The first and last weekend in a while, actually, that I think is going to be this chilled. Oh God, I love it so much nowadays, and I don't care if this makes me sound sad. I love it so much when I don't have anything planned at a weekend, and I'm like, oh, I can just spend most of the time in my pajamas. And we went for a really lovely walk, me and Ross and Yoli, with our next door neighbours who have become such great friends since we moved in here. We went for a really nice walk with them. We called in at a local farm shop. Also, no, I was going to say, I don't know if this one produces corms. It's not an alocasia, but it looks like it might be a corm producer. Yeah, we called in at a local farm shop. We got loads and loads and loads of bananas that they were giving away for free. Just because they were starting to go a bit brown, and we made so much banana bread. Honestly, I ate an obscene amount of banana bread yesterday. It's more like banana pudding, but it is delicious. And it's this time of year where, like, I don't know, I love the cozy months so much. I think I just always go through like a little period, just a little period when we come out of growing season. I'm just feeling a little bit like, oh, okay, again, another year. Goodbye, sunshine. But then as soon as we actually get into the swing of it, and you know what, it feels like it's happened almost overnight, like suddenly the evenings are darker, the mornings are darker. Yeah, we've had the fire on a few times now, but it is just lovely, isn't it? It's just so lovely. And yeah, we had my mum and my mum's partner come round, and we did a meal for them, and we got the fire going, and like, I don't know, it just made me go, okay, yeah, I'm about to get into my winter mode. I know we're not at winter yet, but there is something very comforting and lovely about this time of year as well. Ross has been getting really crafty and making little, like, he made a pumpkin person to go in one of my plant pots. He's been making lots of little kind of autumnal, spooky season things to decorate the house with. Because we've never really been able to do this before. I mean, obviously, like, I could have decorated at the flat, but firstly, I know in the US, spooky season is like such a thing, and like, you guys love it. You get really, like, you decorate all your houses and make it all cozy and lovely. And I always look at people that do that and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. But it's definitely not as much of a thing here in the UK. Like, the only time we really typically decorate our houses is for Christmas. And then on Halloween itself, trick-or-treating, like, again, before I was in the flats, like, I never got trick-or-treaters. That was never a thing. Never really did anything for Halloween, but now we're living, like, very close by to lots of other houses. There's lots of children about. I kind of feel like maybe that will be a thing. So we're thinking we will actually, oh no, oh damn it. And so I've just found a bit of rot. Oh, it's the rhizome that started rotting, which is not good. Good job I checked this. So you can see the roots, the bottom just there, that has started to rot a little bit, and I'm gonna give that a chop with the scissors. I may need to, oh, you know what? I think we're in the clear. Oh, that's good. Okay, thank goodness for that. I thought I was about to lose this plant. So the rot is only very superficial, just there. I've actually sliced it and it hasn't gone through. However, it does make me question whether or not I actually want to put this plant into semi-hydro again for the time being. I'm thinking maybe sphagnum moss might be better, at least to kind of, I don't know, I just feel like that chunk there kind of needs to callus over a little bit. So I think, oh, what shall I do? I I think I might just suspend the roots in water actually for the time being. If I can, I might get a glass and just suspend the roots in water so they don't dry out, but then it will give the bit that I've just sliced a chance to callus. Okay, I think that is what I'm going to do. Bear with. Okay, I have stolen something that I saw on Instagram the other day. I've put a little bit of water in there and I've just used 2 clothes pegs to just hold the stem so that the bottom of the stem doesn't go in the water. And I'm just gonna leave this so that the bottom of the base of the stem, the rhizome, can callus while the roots won't dry out and become dehydrated. And then probably this evening, I will either get it into sphagnum moss or, depending on how well it's calloused, maybe semi-hydro. But yeah, that is what I'm doing for the time being. Oh, okay. And something else that is a small thing, but has been on my to-do list for forever, is my Anthurium Delta Force, which you can barely see now because that fern that's in the pot with it has absolutely overtaken. Like, it's getting so big to the point that I'm actually thinking, should I divide the fern? Because like you kind of can't see the plant anymore. But it's putting out a new leaf, which I think is hopefully going to be quite a big one considering how much it's sized up with its last couple of leaves. Some of you have said that you don't actually think this is a Delta Force. You think this is maybe just a hybrid of the same parent plants, which I think is like the pterodactyl clarinervium or something. I can't remember actually. I did get this from the Eden lab, which clones plants through tissue culture, so I do believe it is a Delta Force. However, it's currently just growing in sphagnum moss, and I would like, this is scary, but I would like to transition it to its, I was going to say its big boy pot. A pot like this that I can do a better mix for this plant in. Maybe divide a bit of the fern, I don't know. But I think I should have prepared better for this video. I should have brought over more stuff that I could make a good mix in. Let's grab another bowl. Okay, I can only find quite a fancy serving bowl, so that's what we're going to use. It's glass, so I'm going to have to be careful not to break it. But the mix that I've been doing for Anthurium recently has, well, not all Anthuriums, but from what I've researched, I think would do well for this Anthurium, is a little bit of soil, a little bit of worm castings, orchid bark, tons of orchid bark, because that is just fantastic for any epiphytic plant, and actually maybe a little bit of semi-hydro as well, just for additional drainage. And then actually, because it's in sphagnum moss, maybe I will leave a little bit of sphagnum moss in there. I'm not entirely sure. But that's what I'm going to mix up. That's what I'm going to prep. And then we will see what it looks like when I actually get it out and see the roots. I just love the smell of bark as well. I think it's so lovely. This is all, like, this isn't exact measurements either. I literally always will just do things off eye and how they look. So far, however, I think I've done 3 scoops of orchid bark, 1 scoop of worm castings. Hello, Yoli, what are you eating? What are you eating? Oh, that's worrying. Yoli's coming towards me looking like she's eating something. Hi. No, don't drink that water. Hello. What was that? Yeah, and then just 1 scoop-ish of soil, maybe 2 scoops. Even this soil is a soil mix. It's, I think, a mix of Cybotanica stuff and Soil Ninja stuff. I ended up just putting them into the same bowl, and both of it is soil that I really like. I might even do a little bit more bark. So you can never have too much bark for Anthuriums, in my opinion. said about putting some semi-hydro in there. Maybe I'll do that at the bottom of the pot, I'm not sure. But that is what it's looking like. And I'm just gonna get it out of this container. I haven't, since I first got the plants, taken it out of its container, so I'm hoping it's gonna be relatively easy to do. As I say, I know, in fact, shall I move the camera over so you can see this a bit better? There we go, I think that might be a wee bit better. But yeah, I haven't taken it out of this container, which I think was, like, I think I got kimchi in this or something. And that's what I was gonna say as well. I know this plant is currently putting out a new leaf. For that reason, I'm gonna just be incredibly gentle. I really, oh, you know what? Oh, I feel like I might need to cut this container. It's not gonna be an easy pull out, I don't think. Oh, oh, this is so scary. I so don't want to disrupt that lovely new leaf. Oh, I think I'm gonna do it. Yay, okay. Wow. So those big beefy roots you can see, those are the anthurium, and then these little brown spindly ones, those are the fern. And if you do not watch my other videos and you've never heard me talk about this plant before, I did not pot this fern in with this anthurium. It naturally, there were obviously some spores in the sphagnum moss or something, and it's just naturally sprung up. And in fact, there's a few ferns in here, it's not just one. Oh, no wonder it looks so busy. But yeah, and they're lovely. Actually, just taking some of them out. They're really lovely. Like, look, that's just a little one there. But they are starting to overcrowd this plant just a little bit. So I think I might just remove a few of them. I'm gonna keep them because I do like the look of them. Go. God, that's a big one, look at that. That's insane. And then I can either pot them with other plants to kind of frame them a little bit and make them look pretty, or I could create a whole new fern of my own. I don't know yet. I'll leave that original fern in, the big one at the back. Quite like that. But then, yeah, as I said, I'm not gonna worry about getting all of the sphagnum moss off, but I'm just gonna get a little bit off so that I can kind of spread the roots a little bit better, I think. God, this smells delicious. Delicious is probably the wrong word to use. You know, like when you go for a walk in the woods, God, there's so many ferns. When you go for a walk in the woods after it's just rained and you can smell, like, I guess it is just the moss and the foliage, and oh, it just smells so lovely, so fresh. It's kind of like when you smell freshly cut grass, the same lovely freshness to it. Actually really hard to get, I mean actually way harder than normal to get the sphagnum moss away from the roots, just because there are so many other little spindly roots from the fern that have kind of woven it all into place. And I think particularly because I just removed so many of the ferns, I've probably like broken off some of their root system, and it will mean that they start to rot if I don't get rid of them all. So really trying to delicately remove this without damaging too many of the anthurium's roots. Maybe I shouldn't have let it get quite so ferny for so long. Or maybe I should have, in fact I definitely shouldn't have just left it in sphagnum moss for so long. Whenever you've got a plant that's got a very spindly root system, sphagnum moss is never the one. Even if the plant grows really well in it, if you ever come to take the plant out of sphagnum moss, it's going to be a nightmare. With so many begonias over the years, I've like, oh, do you remember my begonia Thurstonii? That was such a beautiful begonia. Oh, I loved that begonia so much. But yeah, eventually, oh damn, I just broke another root. It got to the point where it was like the sphagnum moss was so filled with roots. I just knew I was never ever going to be able to separate it, and I should have just chop and propped the plant so that I could have kept it, and I didn't, and I ended up losing the plant. So I should have really lived and learnt. But I think because I didn't originally pot this fern, I didn't really think about it. Part of me is like, should I just get rid of the fern altogether? Okay. Okay. Right, that's the big fern out. I'm gonna not, oh, you know what, I'll put the fern back in there, but for now I'm just gonna take the fern out so that I can just at least focus on removing everything from around these roots. Oh, this feels like the first time in a while I've actually been able to see the delta force as well. This has been surrounded by fern. I haven't seen its root system properly since I first got it, and it was a teeny tiny seedling at that point. God, this reminds me as well, the other day I was like, I'm going to do some crochet for the first time in ages. And I'd seen this like kind of sweater vest top that someone was wearing, and I was like, oh, I really like that. I was like, you know what, I've got some wool, I'm going to try crocheting it. And I got in such a fight with my wool. Basically, when I was away on holiday, if you're on my Patreon, I would have shown you, but my Philodendron Dean McDowell came plummeting off the top shelf in the living room, and Ross had to try and save it. And basically it fell into my wool box, so all of my wool got covered in soil. And bless Ross tried to get as much of the soil out of it as he possibly could. But, wow, also that's such a good root system. Yay! Look at that! So great. But lots of the wool had just formed these like clumps of knot. The rage. The wool that I was working with trying to untangle was, I could crochet like a row, and then I was having to stop 5-10 minutes to try and untangle it, and in the end I threw the wool in the bin. I was so frustrated. I was just like that, like I was not doing it. So I made 2 straps for this sweater vest that I will finish. I mean, I'd like to think I'd actually start the project properly at some point, but yeah, it's just so frustrating. I really love crochet though. I got into it, was it earlier this year? No, it was last year. It was when I was still at the flat. Quickly, hold that thought. This is a random video, isn't it? I'm going to just put a tiny bit of semi-hydro on the bottom, just because then, firstly, if I want to sit this plant in a little reservoir of water, I can. But also I just quite like doing it with anthuriums. I quite like having a base layer. So then I'm going to just put a little layer of my mix. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Why can I never get the camera angles right? My mix under my pot. And then I'm absolutely going to prioritise my delta force here. But I might put a little fern back in there as well. Yeah, go on. Which one shall I put in? Shall I do... This is probably actually the prettiest one. Let's put this one in at the back. There we go. Just pot it in a corner. Just stay there. And if I do need to remove it, or if it starts spreading again, it should, in theory,
be much easier to do now that the plant is not growing in sphagnum moss. Okie dokie. Hopefully that will be the start of great things for my Delta 4s, because I'm so excited about this plant. But yeah, again, I feel like it was one that was kind of limited in the way I was growing it before. So hopefully now I'm going to give it a good water as soon as I finish filming. Hopefully now it can just start to blossom. But I have no concept of how long this video has been. I feel like I've done a lot of waffling today, and yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening to it, and I really hope if you were doing stuff as well, you've got lots done. I've made a dent in what I wanted to get done. I know I've only ticked 4 things off the list, but they are 4 things that were hanging over me before. So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. And yes, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.